video surfaced of authorities in Turkey dragging the corpse of a Kurdish man with an armored vehicle. Now, the image that we're about to show you is graphic. It's difficult to look at, but it's the image that's being circulated throughout the internet, and it's also the image that Turkey initially said was photoshopped and fake, and then later admitted to. So let's take a quick look. It's a 24-year-old Kurdish man who's being dragged. He was already dead when they tied a rope around his neck, attached him to the armored vehicle, and then drove through the town. Now, pro-government media in the country initially questioned the authenticity of the images and video, but many media sources eventually abandoned that line of argument, instead suggesting that dragging Kurdish people through the street is an acceptable way of making sure there are no bombs on the bodies, implying that handling corpses in such a way is justified at a time when the government has renewed hostilities with the armed, outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party.
Now, unfortunately, a lot of the media in Turkey, and it wasn't always this way, but it has been under Erdogan, who's now president, not prime minister, is in the back pocket of the government. So they've threatened them, intimidated them, and bullied them in every conceivable way. Not every media outlet, but a lot of the media outlets succumb to that. So they go with whatever party line Erdogan's government, and now Davutoglu, who's the prime minister, his government says. And so in the beginning, they're like, yeah, Photoshop, whatever, right. And for whatever reason, apparently that became untenable. So they were like, okay, fine, it happened. So now Davutoglu says, okay, this is unacceptable. Let me read you his statement about what in specific is unacceptable. He said, it is unacceptable to treat any corpse this way, even if it is a dead terrorist. Our Interior Ministry will conduct a comprehensive investigation, not into the incident itself, but into the way in which this incident was reflected to the world.
That's amazing.
Man, that takes some guts. To say, yeah, we dragged the guy, and of course we wanted to, we did it, we're going to do it again. We're not going to investigate that incident, okay? We're going to investigate which son of a bitch leaked those pictures,
yes,
right? And we're going to find out who you are, and we're going to crush you, okay? So now, let me explain, apparently, to the Turkish government that is so thick-headed that they can't understand this, okay? Now, I know what the official party line is, right? They think, PKK, they're terrorists, and we do anything, they're terrible, they're inhumane, they're evil, they're monsters, okay? I know. And the Israelis say that some of the Palestinian groups are vicious terrorists, and we say that these guys are terrorists, and they say we're terrorists. Okay, fine. But let's say that they're 100% right, and the PKK, and of course, look, the PKK are terrorists. They've done terrorist activities. But then, unfortunately, the Turkish government will then expand that a little bit and start to call everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people PKK, right? But even if you grant them everything, what message are you sending to the world when you do this? You're sending the message, we're worse than them. Like, don't you get it? Can't you see that? And the answer isn't, let's bottle up the pictures. The answer is, don't do it. If you look like a monster, perhaps you are. Like, did that thought ever cross your head, right? Like, no matter how evil the guy is, no matter how bad a guy is, and we have no idea. You think you're going to take any government's word for it? That, oh, yeah, they got the right guy, you're 100% positive, and he had it coming, but you already killed him, right? When you desecrate his body, that's not just about him, that's not just about the PKK. You're trying to send a message, right? Not necessarily to the rest of the world, you didn't want that, but you wanted to send that message to all the people that were in the streets, right?
Yeah.
To that community. Like, it could be you next, this is what we're going to do to you. But look, that goes to point number two. One, if you think you're trying to win the war and saying you're the good guys and they're the bad guys, this is not how you do it, because I don't know if you get it, but to the rest of the world, when you do this, you look like the bad guys. You look like the bad guys. It never gets through the heads of the people who are ruling, whether it's America, whether it's Israel, whether it's Russia, or whether it's Turkey in this case. Okay, no, the terrorists. But you're doing this, they're not doing this, okay? Now, they do other bad things. And I'm against what they do, okay? Let's be 100% clear about that. But so, okay, that's point number one. Point number two is, it's actually a bad thing no matter how it looks. You see what I'm saying? It's actually the wrong thing to do. Do you have humanity? Do you have morality, right? After the guy is dead, I don't want to do that to anybody because I don't want to send that message. I don't want to send the message that I'm the bad guy. I don't want to send the message that I'm the monster, right? So And the third thing is, for all these knuckleheaded right-wing governments all across the world, okay, they always think, I'm going to intimidate them. If I crush them enough and I crush their spirit and their soul, they will bow their heads, right? And I know that a lot of human history has worked that way. It worked for the Mongols. It worked for a lot of people throughout history. We're not in that place right now. No, these guys who are willing to risk their lives, and some of them to do terrible things, right? A lot of the terrorists are willing to be suicide bombers. They're not going to look at that and think, oh, they got us. We're intimidated. Oh, we lay down our arms. You win, we lose. No, they're going to come at you harder. Now, finally, the fourth thing about this, so you may think, God damn it, that's so counterproductive. If you care about Turkey, this is the worst thing you could possibly do, right? Because it's going to if there were people who were on the fence, who were Kurdish in Turkey, and they didn't like the PKK, they look at this and they thought, they hate the Kurds. This is what the message they send is, we hate the Kurds, right? You don't want to send that message? That's the message you're sending, okay? So then you push them over the edge to fight against you. It's counterproductive. But that's my fourth point. It's counterproductive to us, the people who care about peace, the people who want everybody to get along, right? And the people who want them to live together in a peaceful democracy. It's counterproductive to the Turkish people, okay? But it is not counterproductive to right-wing governments. Right-wing governments feed off of the hatred and the fear, right? So when the Kurds, then more Kurds join PKK and they attacked more Turks, killed more policemen, soldiers, citizens, well, the right-wing government of Turkey thinks, great, now the people will be in more fear and they won't want to vote for Kurds who got too much of the vote in parliament in the last election, and they blocked Erdogan's power grab, constitutional power grab he wanted to do. Now I'm going to turn people against the Kurds. They're going to vote against the Kurds because I goaded the Kurds into further and further attacks. The Kurdish terrorist groups didn't need much goading, but you know how to stoke the fires, right? And then you go, see, you can't vote for the Kurds. You can't vote. So whether it's, again, Netanyahu, who says, hey, in a war, my popularity ranking goes up to the 70s, 80s. Putin, hey, in a war with Ukraine, his popularity is up in the 80s. Yeah. It's the oldest trick in the book. So the people of Israel and Russia and the U.S. and Turkey and all over the world, stop falling for it. A right-wing authoritarian government comes into place. They push people around. They try to intimidate them. They do horrible things like this. And what do people do? They get nationalistic. Their pride rises up and goes, oh, I am Turk. We'll crush them. We'll show them, right? And then you vote for him, and then he gets more power, and then he uses that power against you. And the situation gets worse, and it doesn't get any better. Don't fall for it, man. It's the oldest trick in the book. Please be smarter than this. Be better than this.